misfortune strikes the Kennedy family once again. Senator Edward M. Kennedy was seriously injured when his private plane crashed in the woods near Southampton, Massachusetts. The senator was on his way to the state Democratic Convention, where he was renominated, when the plane crashed in a heavy fog. However, despite a broken back, doctors expect Mr. Kennedy to achieve complete recovery within 8 to 10 months. His family, including Attorney General Robert Kennedy, quickly gathered at his bedside, and specialists were flown from Walter Reed Hospital. It was announced that a new canvas frame would be used to speed the senator's recovery, eliminating the need for a plaster cast. Doctors say that it was a miracle that Mr. Kennedy survived the crash. The voice of the people was heard in the land. 68 million citizens of the United States go to the polls to exercise their cherished franchise, and an overwhelming mandate is handed to Lyndon Baines Johnson, who becomes 36th President of the United States. The man who was thrust into office through the hand of tragedy captures an overwhelming percentage of the popular vote, more than 61%, a plurality over Barry Morris Goldwater of nearly 16 million ballots. It is an historical, sweeping victory, approached only by that of Franklin Roosevelt in 1936. It is an election that crosses party lines, sees 5 states in the solid South defect to the GOP, and has political scientists wondering. It's the president's hometown, and they're proud of it. Many townsfolk are on hand when the polls open, waiting for Mr. Johnson, and he arrives 8 minutes later to cast his vote. Accompanied by the First Lady, the president seems confident of becoming the first Southerner ever to be elected to this highest office. The way he voted would hardly be a top-level secret, but it probably helped swing his home state of Texas into the victory column. Now it's back to the ranch to await the returns. Meanwhile, the other candidate casts his ballot in his hometown, Phoenix, Arizona. Senator Goldwater was up at 5 in the morning chatting with other amateurs on his ham radio, and then he has a wait of more than an hour in line before he votes. Mr. Goldwater said later he split his ticket. Incidentally, a Democrat was elected governor of Arizona. Did the senator help? Later, with the results in, Mr. Goldwater pledged himself to assist the newly elected president in every way he could. Across the nation in New York, there was a senatorial race of national interest. Robert F. Kennedy was on the ballot in opposition to Republican incumbent Kenneth Keating. Overcoming claims of carpetbagging, Mr. Kennedy defeated his Republican opponent. Senator Keating ran 1.5 million votes ahead of the national ticket, but he couldn't overcome the Johnson landslide and the magic of the Kennedy name. Senator-elect Kennedy resigned as Attorney General and moved to New York to make his successful bid for office. It was a wildly enthusiastic group of followers who cheered him as Senator Keating conceded defeat. Was another sweep for the Kennedys in Massachusetts. Although confined to the hospital since a plane crash earlier in the year, Senator Edward M. Kennedy ran up a victory of landslide proportions to join his brother Robert on the floor of the Senate. Thus, Ted Kennedy, as he is nicknamed, retains the seat that was once held by his brother, President John F. Kennedy. In California, it was a different story. A former actor and song and dance man, George Murphy, sends a former Kennedy aide to defeat. Pierre Salinger resigned as White House press secretary to run for senator. But Murphy, the conservative Republican candidate, won the bitterly contested election. For the first time since 1800, the Capitol looks down on voters going to the booths in Washington. They turn out in droves to cast their first presidential ballots in 164 years. President Johnson takes the 3 District of Columbia electoral votes to add to his victories in 44 of the 50 states. Those 3 votes bring his total in the Electoral College to 486 to Senator Goldwater's 52. Only 270 are needed to elect. As the voters made history in Washington, it was but one chapter of many in this historical election that has made its impact felt around the world. It was the ultimate picture of a great democracy at work, A people choosing the man who would guide their destinies in a troubled world for the next 4 critical years. Mr. Johnson, in winning the mantle of the presidency in his own right, has asked the help of all. The help of those who voted for him, the help of the 26 million people who cast their lot with Senator Goldwater. In victory, he seems subdued by the terrible burdens he must assume during the coming years. The United States is a nation that can be divided in the heat of an election and united again quickly when differences are resolved. A mandate has been given. Now may the people of the United States move forward behind their president, Lyndon Baines Johnson.